Good morning, Unity, all you wonderful people out there in internet land. I'd like you to notice that I shaved for you all this morning. That's a big deal, especially these days, okay? So you're welcome. My wife played last week and she said, "Who are you?" after shaving. This is a song I wrote a while back. This is all about grace, and Lord knows we need it. This one's called Back to the Start. Cleansed by the water, purified by the fire, and Lord, either way, lift me higher. And all of these troubles, and all of this pain, give me the strength, Lord, to face the day again. And seek all these broken bones, this heart. Lord, take this loneliness, take me back to the start. When I first saw your face, and I knew of your love, I understood that I was saved by your grace from above. Truth these days seems harder, harder to know. There's so much confusion about which way to go. Help me be still again. May you lead the way. Walk on the water, Lord, if that's what you say. And seek all these broken bones, this listless heart. Lord, take this loneliness, take me back to the start. Saw your face, and I knew of your love. I understood that I was saved by your grace from above. I understood that I was saved by your grace from above.
Thank you, Dave Hannon, and welcome. It's a treat. Nicola last week and you this week. It's great to see you, as always. Yeah, very passionate song. So I just want to welcome everyone here to the light and the love that is Unity of South Sound. My name is Reverend Jeffrey Fowler, and it's my joy to welcome you here this morning. We have a wonderful service outlined for you, and if you have any questions, feel free to give us a call at our office, which is 253-301-0385. And so we just invite you to take a moment to reconnect and to reaffirm the truth of who we are. Will you please join me in our opening affirmation? there is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe, God the good, omnipotence. Our mission statement, inspired by the divine, as an inclusive spiritual community, we explore and express our highest potential. Our vision statement, present and centered in divine love, we co-create a peaceful and awakened world. And our core values, we are love, joy, abundance, and spirit-guided. So as I light this Christ candle, I invite you to let it remind you of that ever-present, ever-flowing love of God that's right within you. And so we just open our hearts in this moment to a time of prayer. We know that there is this flow like a river of love within every single one of us. That God's presence is as near to us as hands and feet, as breath. It beats our hearts, it flows through our lives, and it flows through our world. And so today we allow ourselves to remember that flow, to honor it, to celebrate it, to encourage it, and to enable it to just keep on flowing. And so we bring a sense of joy and gladness to our hearts today as we remember this truth and as we see it in the world around us and in this spiritual community. So for this ever-present, ever-flowing love, we are so, so grateful. Thank you, God. And so it is. Amen. So if you're able to, please stand and join with Michelle in singing our congregational song.
Everywhere I look, I see God in everything, deep inside and all around me, God in everything. I can feel it in my beating heart, God in everything. It's in every breath of life I take, God in everything. Everywhere I look, I see God in everything, deep inside and all around me, God in everything. It's in every stranger's face I see God in everything. Brothers, sisters, family, all are we, God in everything. Everywhere I look, I see God in everything, deep inside and all around me, God in everything. It's in mountain, valley, lake, and stream, God in everything. All creation, beautiful and free, God in everything. God in everything. God in everything.
So now is that time in our service where we get to greet each other with a namaste hug or handshake or bow. If you feel comfortable with those with whom you live, you can give them a hug. Otherwise, we invite you to just put your hands together and say, Namaste. I behold the divinity you are. Namaste. 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 extend this out to our Northwest region. Namaste, Northwest region. I want to extend this Namaste blessing out to the United States of America. Namaste, United States. I want to extend it out to our entire planet, planet Earth. Namaste.
I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now. I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now. You are free, you are unlimited. There are no chains that bind you. You are free, you are unlimited. Right now, right now. You are free, you are unlimited. There are no chains that bind you. You are free, you are unlimited. Right now, right now. We are free, we are unlimited. There are no chains that bind us. We are free, we are unlimited. Right now, right now. We are free, we are unlimited. There are no chains that bind us. We are free, we are unlimited. Right now, right now.
Thank you, Michelle, for your radiant voice and presence as always. We're small but mighty here, holding the energy on that song. Love that song. So today our inspirational reading is from the Daily Word. This is from Sunday, November 24th, 2013, entitled Flow. The life and strength of spirit flow through me now. I am relaxed by the gurgle of a peaceful stream and amazed at the thunder of a magnificent waterfall. Water flows around and over obstacles without strain. By not resisting, water finds its natural way to the sea. Filled with Spirit's wisdom, I know when to let go peacefully and when to gush with strength. As I center myself in the awareness of Spirit within, I flow easily past any challenges, moving naturally toward an ocean of good. With gratitude, I affirm the power, peace, and energy of infinite Spirit flowing through me now, and I am blessed. He split rocks open in the wilderness and gave them drink abundantly as from the deep. He made streams come out of the rock and caused waters to flow down like rivers. Psalm 78, 15 through 16.
So this is a song all about having the great Spirit come and flow through us. This one's called Fall Afresh. Awaken my soul, come awake. To hunger, to seek, to thirst. Awaken, first love, come awake. And do Spirit of the living God, come fall afresh on me. Come wake me from my sleep. Blow through the caverns of my soul, pour me to overflow, to overflow. Awaken my soul, come awake. To hunger, to thirst, seek, to thirst. Awaken, first love, come awake. And do as you did at first. The spirits of the living God, come fall afresh on us. Come wake me from my sleep. Blow through the caverns of my soul, pour me to overflow, to overflow, to overflow. Your spirit come and fill this place. Let your glory now invade. Spirit come and fill this place. Let your glory now invade. Spirits of the living God, come fall afresh on me. Come wake me from my sleep. Blow through the caverns of my soul, pour me to overflow, to overflow, to overflow.
Thank you so much for your artistry, Dave. Just passion and intensity. Beautiful, beautiful song. And I want to just throw out the thank you to the magician of the microphones and let's see if we can do some more alliteration, the wizard of the wires and the sorceress of the sound. That's Amy Silveria, lighting mystic. Amy does such wonderful sound for us. You can hear the actual keys that Cerny is pressing online, and I just love that. So thank you, Amy, for just doing such an amazing job to bring us all this musical talent. Yeah. There's got to be another alliteration in there. I'll work on it. Oh boy, I'm going to be distracted now thinking of that. So I just wanted to speak today about just the flow of goodness and the flow of God that is always right here within us and around us, especially when we go through challenges or challenging times. I really want to emphasize today that we have this flowing presence of God that is right here for us. And so what we want to do is just kind of speak conceptually a little bit more about what is that flow and how can we use that flow in our life, and just to remember that it's there for us. If we look at the kind of medieval view of God, in medieval times, God was up in the sky and kind of this transcendent being that looked down, usually, well, a male definitely at that time, looked down and said, this is okay, this is not, and reward and punish us for the things we did. And the earth itself was this kind of place of darkness and unhappiness and not a real happy place to be. And most people just wanted to get done with this life and go be with God. And if you think about that, there's really not a lot of life in that model. And as old as it is, sometimes we can have little bits and pieces or vestiges of that kind of stick with us, especially if there's a challenging time that we're moving through in our life. And we can forget that there's this closeness of God right here all around us and within us. One of the things I love about India is that they have this concept of God as Devi, the Divine Mother. Now this is, of course, a very different aspect than a guy in the sky sitting on a seat looking down. This is God as the creation itself. It's a female form of God, and it was the dominant form of God and still is in India for thousands of years. And as far as I know, India is one of the earlier places to have that. I know that there were other places too. But to have this feminine understanding of God as the creation itself, creator is creation. So this means that given that viewpoint, God is this podium, God is in the podium, God is in our hands, God is in the floor on which we stand, God is in our breath, God is everywhere. God is creation. Now, if you look at it, even scientifically, the things that we think are so solid, if you took an electron microscope and looked at them, mostly you would find space there. And within that space, even the atoms that make up this seemingly solid object are filled with energy. And so we're connected right back with our first unity principle that there is just a singular presence that is everywhere all the time. And there's these simple patterns of energy flowing. And they're flowing at different frequencies and different speeds. Now, it sounds kind of esoteric, but in a way it's really simple and it's really practical. And we can begin to understand that and use it in our life. Now, this to me, like tapping into this presence of God that is everywhere and moving and flowing, that's how Jesus healed. And that's how we heal ourselves. In fact, I mentioned last week one of the people that healed my stomach. I mean, she just saw that there was some blocked energy there and sent some energy, and it was restored. Now, if you think about this, Fillmore talks all about the body and everything being pure energy, but a way I make it real simple is just think of God as water. And we know our body is typically, our being is composed of three parts: a soul, a mind, and a body. So think of that as water, and so the soul could be water vapor. It's the most expanded and the finest. The mind could be water itself, so it's water vapor slowed down a little bit till it becomes water, liquid water. And then you slow it down a little bit more and it becomes ice, and that's the body. But all three are simply water in different forms, vibrating at different speeds. So this is who we are, and in a sense, it's what everything is. Everything that we see around us is just vibrating at different speeds, but it's all this one energy. It's all God in movement. So all of life is energy that is in motion. Now, what we tend to do is we just forget this, and we become attached to just all this stuff, and so we suffer. We forget that God is right there within it. I like to compare it to, I'll use a bunch of analogies today, and just whatever one works for you, go with it. And so the Easter egg analogy is a good one here, because it's like we get caught in just thinking that there's a shell, but there's no candy inside. I mean, imagine what a tragedy it would be if every kid that picked up Easter eggs had no idea that there was candy inside, and they were just like, yeah, it's this shiny egg that they don't do anything with. You know, there's candy inside. And so, in a sense, that's what we forget with life. We get caught up in all the external shell, but we forget the candy that's inside all of it. That's God's presence. Now, with the Divine Mother of India, we start to stop thinking of God in the medieval view of this person in the sky, and we see God as everything, as all the material objects and the candy inside, all of it. Now, this is really, really practical because we start to use it in our own healing and in our own transformation. Oftentimes we think, okay, I've had a rough life, or I had a rough childhood, I'm beyond repair. There's no way that stuff's ever going away. I can maybe lessen some of it, but it'll always be here. Well, I want to challenge that a little bit because, again, I like to look at science because it sort of symbolizes God in many ways. It gives us a hint. Well, the very first law of thermodynamics says that when there's a closed system, no energy can be created or destroyed. It just changes form. Now, if there's one presence and one power, it's it's an open system, but it really is a singular system. You could almost call it a closed system. So any part of us that thinks it got destroyed or damaged, energy doesn't get destroyed or damaged, it just changes form. Now, this is a really hopeful understanding that we can learn from science that says you can always heal yourself. You can always repair yourself no matter how bad things have been in your life. And those three aspects that I just mentioned, the soul, mind, and body, all being the water vapor, it's still there. It doesn't go anywhere, right? It's the same rain that fell on George Washington, right? It doesn't go anywhere. So this is hopeful because even when we begin to grasp this at a very basic level, we can start to move into states of greater happiness. If we know God is there, if we know that there's a part of us that is untouched, right away we can begin to start to snap out or to move out of those experiences of great suffering that we may be in and begin to lessen our fear. Our co-founder Myrtle Fillmore understood this at a very deep level when she said, "I'm a child of God, and therefore I do not inherit sickness." She got it, that she knew that everything is all connected and there's one energy and it was filling her own body, and all she had to do was begin to speak to that and begin to affirm that and draw up that water from the well and begin to heal. Now, in a sense, we can talk about this till, I'm blue in the face, but ultimately we have to just have the experience of it, right? I can describe chocolate, but until we all taste what chocolate is, we don't know exactly what chocolate tastes like. So we're the ones that actually have to convince ourselves that God is in everything, that God is here, it's in the streams, the mountains, just like that song, it's everywhere. Jesus expressed it when he said, "Father, I know you always hear me, but I say it for the sake of those standing by," when he healed Lazarus. He's saying God is always right here. In a sense, I think of it as like we're fish in the ocean searching for the ocean. We are immersed in it. We are told God is right next to your skin. God is right within you. Now, one of the ways that we start to kind of get a little closer is through a new understanding or new concept of God. Now, I like to think of the things in my life because typically we still, again, have some residual of like God is this, maybe pious old guy in the sky or something like that. And we don't always connect with the things in our life that we're really joyful about. So I like to watch comedy, and I watch a little bit each day, and I was watching Chris Farley the other day on David Letterman, and he's just a nut, he just goes bonkers whenever he's doing anything, and he's doing something, and he walks over, and he falls off the stage, and his legs go up in the air, and it's just total slapstick comedy, but it was hilarious. And Dave Letterman, he's seen everybody, and he's busting out laughing, and I thought, the humor right there of this just hilarious clown-like guy falling, that's God. God is right there in that humor. Why not, And I love that. Or God is in the dinner with your friends that is just totally flowing, like the best night you have ever had, and everything is flowing. Or God is in that outfit that you just love to wear. All of that is God. That feeling that comes from all that is God. See, this sort of gets us to loosen up a little bit and to stop taking everything so seriously, because if we can see God in those things, then maybe we can also see God in the flat tire or God in that person that we don't like very well. And as we do this, we start to begin to break through the relative world. We stop taking it all so seriously. What we tend to think of as God in our culture are the very highest aspects of God, and certainly we can focus on those, the compassion, the love, the bliss, the forgiveness, all those things. But if we're still thinking this is not God, and in some way we're afraid of it, and as we get afraid of it, it starts to be drawn to us because our thoughts attract. So if we're afraid of something, we're sending it all that energy, we're going to attract what we fear. So this, in essence, seeing God as everything, is the essence of what we call Tantra, which is a very rich, it's not just sexuality, it's everything in life, seeing it as the manifestation of the divine. So as we do that, our conditions start to dissolve, right? Where we're like, I love this, I don't love that, I love you because you're behaving this way, now I don't love you. We start to remember that there is this presence that is everywhere. Now, in this sense, we get an ability to heal. And the key here is you're taking the God in the sky and you're creating a circuit that connects all the way down here to the physical world because you're seeing God in everything now. And so you're starting to connect that circuit, and that heals. It releases a tremendous flow of energy. People would say to me, like, I used to be a custodian. Why did you want to be a custodian? I mean, that sounds like a dirty job. But for me, I really wasn't seeing the dirt. I was seeing this connection from the absolute flowing into the relative, and I was seeing the final product of everything being cleaned and transformed. So in my mind, it was a really awesome, clean job because everything was sparkly all the time, especially after it was cleaned. Same thing with if you look at a great sculptor like Michelangelo's David. I mean, he obviously saw the slab of stone right there. It was like 10 feet tall or 12 feet tall, however tall it was. But mostly he saw David in that stone. He saw the vision. He saw what he was going for. And so that's sort of what we have to begin to do a little bit more, especially in our down times. We got to start seeing the David everywhere. David Sandal Hill's at the back. We got to see the David everywhere. And we got to start bringing that out of life. So we do this by tapping into the presence of Spirit, making that connection, completing the circuit, in a sense, tapping in. Now this is where meditation really starts to help us, because all we're really doing is just opening to what is already there. Again, we are like fish in the ocean searching for the ocean. So lately in my meditations, I talk a lot about the chakras, and been working on the lower chakras. And as I do so, I just am opening my system in meditation to this ocean. And what happens is it just begins to fill in my body, coming through my spine, my back, and it just floods my whole system. And it gets swallowed up in this energy, and I'm in this sort of state of suspended animation in God, and it's just swallowing my whole form. And I'm just opening to that ocean that's right there, and I begin to get immersed in it. And we can do exactly the same thing, all of us. I think of God, here's another analogy. I think of God as like electricity. And you think back to when we didn't know what electricity was, and we saw this big lightning thing in the sky, and probably most of us thought, that's never something we're going to be able to run through a microchip, to make a computer go. And we thought, that's pretty dangerous, I'm going to stay away from that, But somewhere along the line, we had the idea that maybe we could use that. Not only could we use it, and not only could it be used safely, but it could be used very intricately. And in fact, it could transform the world. And you think of the ways in which we use electricity today. You can go to your stove and turn it on and get the water to boil or whatever you're cooking, and then adjust it. And the most precise ways, we use this electricity into the littlest microchips that help us to have a hearing aid or a computer, or all of these wonderful things that we use it for. You would have told someone that, a couple hundred years ago, they never would have believed that those things were possible, not in their wildest imaginations, from this big lightning bolt in the sky, right? Now, the same thing is true with spiritual energy. This energy that is everywhere, just like electricity, that's flowing through everything, that is just as powerful, if not more, that we can use for every good thing we can possibly imagine without pollution. Now, you can connect with people because of spiritual energy. You can, and these are just the basics. You can open up to greater guidance and intuition. You can experience profound happiness on nothing, just spiritual energy. Not only that, but the knowledge that comes from it. You know, we talk about God sometimes as this presence of omniscience. Well, if God is everywhere and God is in this energy, if you open to the energy, you get the knowledge. So we've seen this so many times that there are sages or spiritual beings that open to God and they somehow just have a PhD in something. They haven't even picked up a book on it. We've seen it with mathematicians like Ramanujan. They get a little basic algebra book and then they do a puja and then they derive and open in meditation and get these equations and stuff from God, directly from the universe. This sounds like far out, but so did a microchip, with electricity. So we are just beginning to understand that there's a flow of energy everywhere that we have access to. And we're just beginning, we're like, if it was numbers, we're beginning to add and subtract. But someday, we're going to get to calculus and trig, and we're going to be building buildings with it. Now, this is really, really hopeful. And in alignment with this, so much of our medicine today is already using it. The MRIs, the CAT scans, it's all energy, right? So what we need to start doing is saying, what does this mean? What does this signify? And what is it pointing towards? It's pointing towards the one presence and one power that is everywhere. Now, this is stuff I don't normally share, but in the Unplugged with yours truly, which we'll have another one, and not this week, but next, people were just asking me questions, and we were getting the ideas going. And so I thought, well, I'll just get a little more esoteric today. So the way that the energy actually flows into your body is in a pattern. And I've shared this before a long time ago, if you remember a slide I had, but you can Google this, and it's called a torus, T-O-R-U-S. So all you can go and Google as you're listening to me and see all the images, and it's like a big donut, basically. And it's a donut of flowing energy. You know that picture of Leonardo da Vinci's Vitruvian Man where the person's like standing here like this? Well, if you see there's two circles, and those are the sides of the donut. And they're flowing and there's a little space in the middle, the donut hole. And it's like in a 360, just like a donut ring. The energy is flowing down, usually, into the body and out, and then up and around. And so you're constantly getting energy from the universe. It's constantly flowing through you. It's constantly leaving you and being re-energized by the universe and coming back in. Now, it can also go in the reverse direction. And it's going in those two circles in a 360 ring, all within you and around you, everywhere. It's the shape of the torus. Now, physicists are beginning to use this understanding to create new energy devices that gather energy from the universe. So this sort of understanding, it's in every atom. It's the poles of the atom. It's in every planet. It's the poles of the planets. It's in every galaxy. It's in every fragment of space. Every fragment of space is drawing on this constant flow of God. Now, what happens as you begin to dip into understandings of energy is you see that any form of disease, whether it's mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, any form of happiness is simply a blockage in that flowing donut, in that torus. It's just a blockage of energy. And so what we do in our spiritual process is we begin to clean out those blockages so that the energy can flow more freely. Another way of thinking of this is that the body, as the energy flows in, is like a prism. You know what a prism does? It takes white light and it breaks it into the rainbow. Simon loves this, and thank you, Star Pittman, for sending us the crystals. We put them in our window, and the sunlight shines through, and it makes rainbows everywhere, all around the room. And so he loves those, and we turn it, and he has a good time. But the body is the same thing. It is taking in the energy in that form of a torus, and it's slowing it down in our chakras. Now, what we can start to do as that happens is we can say, oh, red energy, awesome. I can feel what this is. I can tune into it. That'll help me start my business and take care, found a business. Or blue, I'm going to focus on this energy for a while. Oh, maybe I'll try out a new art form and I'll get creative and I'll work on that. Or, oh, this green or pink energy, maybe I'll focus on that and it'll help me connect with people all around me in this harmonizing, loving way. So these are the energies we start to get just the basic grasp of, and we can use them in our life. Another way of thinking of the body is like an antenna. You have an antenna on your car. Well, what that does is there are crystals in the antenna, and so you've got these invisible radio waves everywhere. Well, what that crystal does is it slows down the frequency of those radio waves so you can hear that music over your car radio. Well, the same thing happens to the chakras in your body. It's taking the energy again, sucking it in like that donut from the universe, and it's slowing it down so that you can use it in your life for different things. Now, these are the addition, subtraction. One day we'll get really specific with this stuff and we'll be able to direct it and use it all these cool ways. But if you looked at, for instance, the way we do things now, even in medicine, it'll seem like in 100 or 200 years, it'll seem like the way we used to use leeches on people to heal them, in the 1750s. That'll be the difference in what we see as happening. So as esoteric as this may sound, it won't be, people will be able to listen to this in 100 years going, yeah, I know that. A really cool book to get started with some of this stuff is called Hands of Light by Barbara Brennan, Brennan, Hands of Light. And she goes a lot deeper than what I'm talking about here. But this has been around for, I think, like 30 years or something. It's a real well-known book of understanding energy. But all of this, what does it mean for us today? It means that life is hopeful. Because there is an energy that is always flowing, and in a sense, what is this saying? It's saying God's doing the work for us. All we got to do is just receive it, make ourselves willing to receive, because there's this magnificent architecture and physics going on everywhere. Now, people say, I'm too old, or again, like I've had all these issues, but there's some hopeful things we can begin to tune into that support us in this journey. And the first one is more people are doing this work. More people than ever are doing these spiritual practices and have access to the bulk of all the spiritual knowledge in our entire planet's known history, at the click of your button. So what that means is that I think probably today, if you did a day of meditation, it would be maybe the equivalent of like a year in 1900. More people are doing it. So just like we've got a personal Taurus, we also have a collective Taurus, and that is the collective energy of humanity. So as more and more of us clear the clogs, it makes it easier for it to flow for the rest of us, for all of us. So these are very transformative times. So more people are doing it. Two, right along with that, the frequency is rising on our planet. Now there's a kind of a double-edged sword here, because you can, again, the thoughts and the feelings we hold in our mind are going to produce after their kind. This is our third unity principle. So if we want to move into states of negativity, we can get really negative really, really fast. If we want to move into a really positive state of consciousness, we get really, really happy and really joyful really fast. And so you've got either choice, and the universe just says, yes. Life sucks, life is horrible. Yes, life is wonderful. These wonderful things are happening and things are awakening. Yes. Whatever thoughts you're holding on to, if you're in a higher frequency field of energy, they're going to manifest faster. So you can go positive, you can go negative. Now, one of the interesting things about this, which is kind of mysterious, is when you choose to stay positive or stay in an energy of love or wholeness even, maybe that's a better way of thinking of it, and you stand next to a very unhappy energy or a very negative energy, what that does is it burns off all your unhappiness and burns off all your negativity very quickly. But you have to stay in the positive to do that. Now that is a pretty cool and advanced technique, and a lot of the higher beings and higher dimensions are saying, man, I wish I could be down there. Because when you're in this heavenly realm, it takes a long time to burn off the negativity. Just come down to earth, and be in this positive state and stand right next to that, and it will purify you and help you grow very quickly. Now, again, it's easy to slip back into the negativity because it's right there. And so this is why it's really important for us to do our spiritual practices and stay centered. So more people are doing it, the energy's higher. And the third thing is that the earth herself is totally supporting your spiritual journey. Now this is important because she is going into higher frequencies. And many of the extremes in weather and storms, it's her sloughing off all this negativity or harm that has occurred on this planet and going into a higher frequency, like shaking off the dust, basically. And it's not just happening here. Even all the studies in NASA say the planets throughout our solar system are experiencing more intense storms, more extreme swings in temperature. You look at Saturn or Venus or Mars, they're all going bonkers in these different ways. And it's beyond just our solar system. It's something that's happening throughout this part of the universe. There's this massive blast of cosmic energy. And there are many spiritual teachers saying this exact same thing in much more detail than this. And so this earth is like a torus that's receiving and shedding off and shaking the dust off and going into a higher frequency. Now, to just make it simple, I just think of it like I'm walking on the Buddha, or I'm walking on Jesus. There's this energy seeping from the earth that is this enlightened, aware frequency that is totally nurturing and that is here for us to support us. Now, likewise, conversely, if we are closed, if our hearts are closed, we're not going to be able to stay here very much longer because the frequency is rising. That's in one sense why I think we have so many heart attacks and strokes, because if the heart is not open to this increased frequency, it's like a hose that has a bunch of kinks in it, and you keep cranking up the volume of the water going through. Eventually there's going to be a burst in that hose. It's the exact same thing with our spiritual journey. So this is why it's really important for us to continue to open our hearts, continue to center, continue to do our work. But in essence, all of this is incredibly hopeful because all we really got to do is just receive what is already here. There's a story I've told once before, and it's kind of representative of surrender and receiving. That's when I was in Santa Barbara. I was actually at Gaviota Beach, if you know where that is. But I went out and I swam way out into the ocean, and I just laid there on the water and just, felt the huge surges, that the ocean was doing. And it's, kind of scary and kind of humbling and beautiful all at the same time. I mean, it was safe. It wasn't way out there. But you could feel these surges of the ocean. And in that sense, it gave me this tangible memory and this analogy of what it's like to just surrender to the ocean of God, something that is so much more powerful than you. And if that is an ocean on a planet, just imagine the entire universe flowing into you in that torus shape, and how it really just wants to support you. All I had to do is kick back and, chill on the ocean, let it carry me. So when we begin to understand this, we start to remember this flow is always here, and all we got to do is surrender. Just remember and surrender, and begin to allow that torus to do its magic and to start to see God everywhere. And in that way, we go deeper. We kind of go within the Easter egg, and we start to eat the candy, and we start to realize, home is everywhere. It's right here, and all we got to do is just start to open and receive that. One of my favorite teachers, his name is Mahavatar Babaji, or Babaji for short. When people would come to see him in the Himalayas in India, they just felt this tremendous love and this tremendous acceptance by being around him that, it would bring people to tears. They'd have visions and all these experiences that completely blew them open and open to this majesty and this bliss of God. And so naturally they wanted to give things to him because they were just so happy for the transformations happening in their life. So they would give him their most precious things, and wonderful things because they just loved him so much. And he would give it back to people because he would just circulate it. And sometimes people would get mad about that. That's my grandma's ring you gave to that person. But he just kept giving it. And so one time he was handing out gifts to the different devotees, and he gave one to somebody, and he looked at them very deeply, and he said, "Open." And it was so cool because the person interpreted that to mean this was a teaching for their whole life. Like, they just needed to open. And I would say the same is true with all of us. That's all we've got to do. Like, the grace of God is phenomenal, and it's happening all the time on this galactic scale, and all we have to do is just start to open our hearts and our minds. There's another devotee who came to him and said, he's just hanging out, and Babaji said, make a wish. And he said, there's nothing I want. I'm so happy to be here with you. I feel so full. I feel like I'm in heaven. He said, nevertheless, you should make a wish. And he said, I just wish for the world to be at peace. And Babaji said, how could that be? Their hearts are so closed down. And he said, well, open them. And Babaji said, so be it. And so to me, whether you know or believe in Babaji, there's an energy right now that he represents. When I met him in the Himalayas, before anything happened, I was just sitting there looking at the mountains. We were going back to Delhi, and the first thing that happened, as so often does, is my heart just started filling up with energy. And it filled up so much it could not contain anymore, and it just started to flow through me. And then when I turned around and stood up, then I saw this wonderful being there, and his consciousness, I mentioned Amma and Sri Sri, it was way beyond any human being I'd ever seen. It was this vast awareness of me at all my levels and the world and the universe. And so to me, his presence represents this presence of God, which it's everywhere. And he's tuned in with that, and he's saying, it's opening. Orchid had a dream with him last week, and the symbology that was happening. We are opening. And so the hearts of human beings are in this transformation right now. All we got to do is let this torus do its work. So when our minds start to despair, and we're down in the dumps, and it's our hardest time in our lives, just remember that no human being, no organization is going to change the flow of the entire universe, or at least this sector of the universe. The universe is going to win. And this darkness that seems so prominent on our planet, because again, when you've got a high frequency, it brings up all the darkness to be seen and released. That darkness is going away. It's flowing, it's fleeting. And there is this force now that's on our planet that nothing can hold back, and nobody can stop it from its good. The greatest miracle, I think, of anything that has ever existed is our denial of all this. We are the greatest miracle because we're the only ones that can use our free will to stop it. And even that is really beginning to be not possible. Our hearts are blasting open whether we want them to open or not. So it is being swept away. And all we've got to do is just let ourselves rest on this ocean and let that flow of God continue to come and flow into our lives and into our hearts. I offer that to you this week. God bless you all. We'll see you next week. And so it is. Amen. And so we just take this moment to join together in a time of meditation. And so as we do so, we just become aware of our breath. We gently take a deep breath in, and we gently breathe that out. In this space, we remember that there's a vast ocean of light that we swim through, that we move through all the time. And that although there may be times when things are down and things seem dark and bleak, that inner sun in inner space is always shining. And so we have this sacred opportunity to remember and to surrender to open to that. The word Islam means surrender. And so in this moment, we allow ourselves to let go. In this safe space of devotion and love, we let ourselves be held by that ocean of light and bliss, that ocean of creativity, of new ideas and solutions, that ocean of life that is you and that wants to flow through you in all its magnificence and glory. Behind every thought, behind every breath, behind every atom is the light of God. It is hidden, playing hide and go seek with us. But God is there. God is the candy and the Easter eggs. God is the light within all things. And so we breathe in together again. We breathe in that energy. And we breathe it out. We let ourselves remember that we are this little wave on the ocean. That there is a tremendous, tremendous force of goodness that we are connected with and that is ready to flow through our lives in the most fantastic, the most opulent, the most amazing way that we can possibly imagine. And all we got to do is just let that flow. And so in this space, we bring our attention to our hearts. We bring our attention to this magnificent form in which we live in. And we begin to visualize that light, that love flowing outward through every pore of our body, like a fluid piercing light, moving through us out into the world, knowing that this flow never ends. And so in this moment, we simply open and allow it to move through us, together as one in the silence. So we just bring our attention back to this beautiful space, this beautiful time. And we give thanks for the opportunity to remember, to love, to serve, and remember. We thank you, God, for inspiring all that we do in our lives. We thank you, God, for flowing so wonderfully through every single one of us, through our minds, our bodies, our spirits. And so we just hold the continued flow. We allow it to work its magic, and we give great thanks for this spiritual community and for our lives and for your presence in it, God. For this we are so, so grateful. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. And so it is. Amen. Well, if this is the first time you've joined us, we just want to open our hearts and welcome you and say thank you for tuning in, for sharing your love and your consciousness with us. If it's your second time, welcome back. And if you've been here many, many times, welcome home. And so we would love to just share our unity blessing with all of our newcomers and our live streamers. So to all of our newcomers and live streamers, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the divinity you are. And so at this time, I'll invite Dave to come forward and prepare for his next song. And this is a time in our service where we get to share of our financial blessings with this community. There's 3 easy ways to do so. You can go to our website, unityofsouthsound.org, and there's an orange donate button in the upper right-hand corner. You can click on that and make a one-time or ongoing donation. It's safe and secure to do. You can also call our office, which is 253-301-0385, or you can mail it to us at Unity of South Sound, 710 South Anderson Street, Tacoma, Washington, 98405. And so whether you make those ties online or you have them in your hand, I just invite you to hold them in your hand or in your heart as we say our offering affirmation together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am in perfect balance and flow with the universal tides of giving and receiving. Thank you, God.
Thank you so much, Pastor Jeffrey, for your message this morning. How true it is that the more we try to grab onto something or make something happen, the more it doesn't. And allowing our good energy to flow is so difficult in our crazy, mad, fast-paced world. This is a song about relationship here with each other and moving into the next life. This one's called I Will Follow You Into the Dark. I'll be close behind. I'll follow you into the dark, the blinding lights, tunnels to gates of white, as our hands clasp so tight, as we wait for the hint of a spark, flipping out of sight, they both are satisfied, illuminate the notes on their vacancy signs. If there's no one beside you when your soul embarks, then I'll follow you into the dark. In Catholic school, as vicious as Rome, modern rule, I got my knuckles bruised by a lady in black. I held my tongue as she told me, son, fear is the heart of love. So I never went back, flipping out of sight. They both are satisfied, illuminate the notes on their vacancy signs. If there's no one beside you when your soul embarks, then I'll follow you to the dark. You and me have seen everything to see, Bangkok to Calgary, and the soles of your shoes are all in one town. Time for sleep is now, it's nothing to cry about, 'cause we'll hold each other soon, the blackest of moons. If heaven held aside, they both are satisfied. Illuminate the nose so that they can see signs. If there's no one beside you when your soul embarks, then I'll follow you into the dark. And I'll follow you into the dark. And I'll follow you into the dark.
Did you want to announce, Dave?
Okay, so I'm totally in trouble before I even start this. We, Nicola and myself, would like to announce that as of yesterday, I'm totally in trouble now, we're at 20 weeks. We're expecting a baby girl. So wanted to share that with our Unity community. We're very excited. I'm super nervous, but that's okay because Nicola is 1,000% the planner. So I'm just going to try and do my best to support in love and any way I can. So just wanted to share that good news with you guys. So thanks.
Yeah. We're so happy for you both. And Nicola told me that last week, and I just didn't want to say anything because I wanted to make sure it was okay to share. So it's great that you shared that, Dave. Thank you. Yeah, it's just such a blessing, such a blessing. So we do have a few announcements for you. As always, if you'd like to stay up to date with our events and activities, please consider signing up for our e-blast. And so easy to do, just go to our homepage at unityofsouthsound.org, and there's a newsletter sign-up tab at the top. You can click there and fill out your contact info. We will continue on with Coffee with yours truly. Sorry I did not make last week. I will be there this week. It's at 11 a.m. on Wednesdays on Zoom. There are links on the e-blast and the website, and it's just a wonderful time to connect and share love and experience the uplift of a really supportive group of people. We will continue on with our contemporary mysticism and the art of spiritual contemplation. This is the second and fourth Thursdays of the month from 7 to 8:30 p.m., again on Zoom, led by our beloved Mark Tonka, a wonderful meditation teacher. The links are in the e-blast, or you can always call our office if you need assistance with that. Our next midweek prayer service will actually be this Tuesday, May 4th, so coming right up. And this is a wonderful chance to just bring your prayer needs and have them held in a sacred space with our chaplains and with other people who are attending. It's a wonderful service. It's about 30 minutes long, and it starts at 7 p.m., goes to 7:30, and then there's an optional 15-minute breakout room at the end if you want to stay and just connect and socialize. And so really it's just a chance to briefly state our prayer because Spirit knows our prayer needs. We hold those in silence and prayer and meditation together and complete that. So wonderful time of real support for our community. We will continue on with Unplugged with yours truly. This will be every other Tuesday, so not this Tuesday, but the following Tuesday, May 11th at 7 to 8:30. We had a good time last time with some really awesome questions that I'm still thinking about, just more personal stuff like music and movies and food and spirituality. So just any question you have that you would like to ask me, I'd be very happy to share with you and just be there for you and to support you, or even in this transition, any question that you might have. So we'll continue on. We'll start our Absolute Abundance class actually this week, so tomorrow with my class, and then on Wednesday and Thursday with Jennifer and Ruth. Should be a wonderful chance to explore our prosperity teachings and unity at kind of the next level, kind of 2.0. So this is called Absolute Abundance, and it's 10 weeks long. And we'll be doing a little bit more classroom work rather than just video and workbook as we did before. So this will be more interactive with games and discussion and exercises and fun things. So please consider joining that. If you'd like to, just shoot us an email at office@unityofsouthsound.org. We'll get you signed up, and it'll be a wonderful, wonderful time. So 10 weeks. We want to mention that our Youth Sunday that we originally scheduled for May 16th is actually canceled. And we bless and we honor that due to the fact that, the safety measures, we wanted to just make sure that those are fully in place. And I think there was some question as to whether that would work and to have everybody here in masks. So we honor that decision that the team made, and we'll just continue on with our normal work as always. And we'll look forward to that next time. So bless you and thank you for your discernment on that, youth team. I want to finally mention that our pledge drive, which we did in the month of March, sometimes we still get donations and contributions, and so thank you for all of that. And I wanted to share that we're at 93% of our goal as of April 20th. So what a blessing and what an outpouring of love and support from all of you to this community and to this message. So thank you for that and so much more. So that concludes our announcements for the week. And so even though our youth are not here with us physically, we know you are here in spirit. And we would love to send our unity blessing to our youth, to our teachers, and to Jennifer Richardson, our youth director. So to all of our youth, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the divinity you are. And so if you're able, I invite you to please stand and join with Michelle in singing our peace song. Prayer of protection, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. God bless you all. We'll see you next week, same time, same place.